Welcome to Insight Marketing Success, the podcast where marketing knowledge meets real-world experience, from vision to execution.
Welcome to IMS, Insight Marketing Success. Today we have Heather Constantine, who has an interesting story. So Heather, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Tell us, who are you? Tell us about your story.
Yeah, so I like to say that I'm a marketing consultant for both high growth organizations and executives worldwide. You know, like I think many marketers, my career was not a straight and narrow. It was turns and curves and dips and some curveballs along the way. I think one of the great things about being a marketer, right, is that you're learning so much personally as well as professionally. So I actually bring about a 14-year experience as a marketer for a variety of different industries. So I started as your basic entry-level copywriter back in the day and worked for a great publishing company where that was just my breeding ground for understanding the customer and where I really developed a passion for the customer specifically. And I worked my way up and up from SEO to branding, content marketing, which has always been the bread and butter of everything that I've done. And, actually developed a side business where I am a branding consultant for senior level executives.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So how did your career evolve from being that marketing director
Mm-hmm.
to this personal executive brand? And
Yeah.
I need to add that, I believe in people having a journey, right? A life purpose.
Right.
And it seems to me that you are following something like that. So
Yeah.
about that.
So it's really interesting. So for some context, throughout my over a decade of experience as a marketer, right, I had such valuable experiences working for organizations. I also spent a lot of time and energy getting really clear and honing in on my muscle to create really compelling content that connects that brand to that audience. What I learned when I was starting to outgrow certain aspects of my in-house marketing career, what I learned is that I was really good at branding people, right? And specifically, coworkers that sat alongside me, maybe they got laid off from a position, maybe they were ready to stretch their creative wings and wanted to do something a little bit different. I saw in them certain things that maybe the manager or the employer did not. And so what I started doing is I started taking a couple clients at a time while I was working my way up in my marketing career. And I started branding the individual in the same way that I was branding products. And what I found is I got really good at making people visible, just like I made products visible, right? So a big part of my background is SEO. And very, very quickly, within 45 days, these people that were helping, colleagues, coworkers, even family members in the early stage of the game, they were getting scooped up by companies that actually found them. And so all of a sudden, I developed this new passion for marketing. It was just marketing the individual. So that's kind of grew overnight, but after years of honing in on this expertise.
Wonderful.
So for me, what was so exciting is that I could connect the dots between something that I felt like I was really strong in and really help so many people in the process as well.
All right. So in your experience, what would be the 3 things that you would advise any executive to enhance their brand?
Their brand for their business or their professional brand?
The professional brand.
Yeah, so for the individual, the first thing, whenever I have that first call with somebody, I ask them to walk me through their background. It doesn't matter what industry they're in, whatever role they're in, it doesn't matter. I can tell a lot by the way that they're speaking about themselves. Usually what happens, let's say they have 20 years under their belt, they're a senior level executive, or they're even mid-level and they're looking to pivot, or whatever they're trying to do, or they just want that strong presence. I can tell just by listening what their 3 superpowers are, their expertise amongst everything else in their world. So that is always the first thing. Get really clear. If you had to name 3 superpowers, right? If you had to name 3 of your core strengths, what would they be? You always start there because everything starts from that positioning. Number 2, I always advocate for a little exploration. So often we get wrapped up in the day-to-day. What are we doing most often every day in our careers? When actually our skill set, our strengths go way beyond that, right? some of it has to do with the things that we enjoyed when we were a kid, right? That maybe we don't do day to day, but we're really strong in. We're really strong at empathy. We're really strong at making people laugh and kind of easing them from the hardships of their day. We're really strong at numbers. And so often we think because we're good at it, we assume everyone else is good at it too, but that's not the case. So I always advocate for kind of take an inventory of where your other skills lie that maybe you don't even have listed on your resume. And then number three, it just goes back to what you enjoy, right? And I know in my marketing career and for so many others, when it comes down to it, there's really kind of core areas that we really, really enjoy. And for us to build our brand, to showcase who we are, we really have to hone in on that. So those are kind of the three starting points, right? And from there, a really powerful brand can start building.
Yes. That's wonderful. I have read a lot of books, and you're absolutely correct. It coincides with what my own education, and just very briefly, is people have a journey in their life,
Mm-hmm.
and we have gifts. And it's
Mm-hmm.
up to you to know and understand your gifts to be able to blossom and follow your path in
Right.
your life, you know?
Right. And how many of us are conditioned to actually, first of all, really focus on that, right?
Hmm.
Us and be selfish for a minute. I don't think many of us were actually told that it's okay to to think about number one,
Yes.
right? Number one is usually our employer, right?
Mhm.
And then number two, equally as important, is to learn how to actually communicate that to the world, to others, to a future boss. I mean, when we think about how many of us are actually effectively communicating who we are as a professional and how different opportunities could come to us if we did, right? So I am very passionate with communication. Communication, leadership communication is a big part of how I help professionals and teams at large. How imagine a world, right, in which all of us could say and communicate who we are, what led us to become or have the passions that we do, and our vision for what we hold next. I mean, everything would change.
And let me add, be joyful and happy,
Yes,
because that's what you're really doing, because you have to find those joyful moments that what you enjoy doing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
awesome. So can you share a campaign that really moved the needle for your brand, for Heather Constantine?
Yeah. So this is kind of an interesting story, a little bit of a happenstance, and right, years kind of in the making at the same time. So I was working for an amazing tech company. I was essentially their brand and lead content marketer. At the same time, everything around this is when the first wave of tech layoffs was starting to take hold, so like 5 years ago when that
Oh,
first wave hit.
2009?
Yeah. So I felt very fortunate that my role was not absorbed, but so many people around me, right? And on my LinkedIn network, I had even like recruiter friends that were being laid off, coworkers that I met with every day that were being affected because I was so in the tech field. So many people were affected. I was already starting to take clients on my own at this point. So I knew I was on to something, especially when it comes to that LinkedIn algorithm, knowing how to get people in front of recruiters. I was already on to something, but when this tech layoff happened, a big part of my business is giving back. Every year I actually take on 3 clients, totally complimentary. This was the start of that. So what I did is I created a post on LinkedIn and I said, hey, so many of you are affected. I'm so sorry this has happened to you. I have some visibility strategies that I would love. Actually, what I would love to do is create a fully optimized LinkedIn profile for free for anyone that's been infected and laid off. DM me. Within 24 hours, over 350 people had DM'd me.
Wow.
I kept my promise. And in 30 days, I had optimized 350 LinkedIn profiles, my own curated strategy. So all of my years in SEO, brand content marketing, branding, I used my best practices. I applied it to the profiles. I had already, seen how LinkedIn's algorithm was working a bit. 99% of those people within 45 days had landed a new role with a 40% salary increase or more. So
Whoa.
my data on that, like kind of happenstance kind of campaign, I want to give back. That also shows what happens when we do things for others, right? No expectation. We put ourselves out there. We use our skills for the greater good. So many people received these amazing offers. And then my business started building overnight.
Wonderful.
That is, you can't get better data than that. Data doesn't lie. It showed me, number one, my strategies worked. Number two, I loved being able to lift people up and give them the traction that they deserved, right? Because now they had things that actually worked for them. And then number three, I wanted to help more people. So
That's so cool.
yeah,
That's so cool. Yeah. And again, there are principles out there in the universe.
right.
You help people and really out of your heart, it
Yeah,
will come back to you, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
no, that was like seriously like one of the best moments of my career, you know?
congratulations. All right. So how do you approach storytelling in your brand communications?
Yeah. So for brand communications for others or for me?
Either one.
Okay. So for me, so anyone that I work with, from mid-level to senior level executives, they have, for the most part, most of them have that next tier in their career that they want to reach. Most of them have been in their field for 15 plus years. And so they're happy where they are, but they still have big dreams that they want realized in their career, right? For their own brand. For some of them, it's actually going into entrepreneurship, really going into business for themselves after all these years of working for somebody else. For others, they want to make it to that CEO level or that senior director level. Whatever it is, it's actually a very emotional sell, right? And so, not that I'm really selling, but when I have a call, and all these are like consultative calls, right? I ask them, what do you want? Their favorite question that I ask is, if I could wave a magic wand and give you that dream role today, you tell me what it is. Who are the people you're working with? What's the type of work you're doing? What's the salary you want to make? And so for me, I'm then reverse engineering that entire process, right? So it was a very easy branding for me to do for my own business because I know every single pain point that they have. No matter what their industry is, no matter what their career goal is, their professional goal, I know every single one and I reverse engineer it where I show them how that's accomplished. Luckily, I have so many customer stories that I can send them something that's a peer that this person was standing where they're standing today, was once there. It's very easy for me to talk, especially when I tell them I'm actually their career marketer.
Mhm.
So they love the idea of having their own market, put a marketer in their pocket, they got it, right? Now they know how to share themselves. And for others, if I'm consulting for a team or an organization, it goes back to the basics. We don't make anything complicated. People need to feel, right? And so marketing, you learn it's about the product, it's about the service. I challenge that and I say it's about the people always. And I swear that's been this big steps up I've taken in my career because I focused on the customer. And
I
then
would like
how
to
can
add, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Mhm.
but I would like to add, I agree with 100% with you, but I would like to add that is the connection with the people,
It is.
the
It is.
connection, you know?
So if you're focused on the person, how can you connect with them, right? How can you connect with that audience? And I'm sure you know, and you can tell stories for days, right? On how you're able to connect with audiences. Storytelling is so important. I usually hit every platform where they are. So my whole thing is I want to meet them where they are. For a lot of my clients or companies, it's LinkedIn. Right. And so I've been a LinkedIn consultant as well, where I know exactly how their algorithm works, what answers and questions people have that are living on LinkedIn. Behavior is so huge in my world as a marketer. So again, I'm thinking, how can I connect with that audience? I'm constantly looking at user behavior to see where the opportunities are, from a website to a white paper or a case study to video. So I always
Wonderful.
start there.
All right. What marketing trend or channel are you most excited about right now and why?
Oh gosh, so many, right? So first of all, the trend. I am a big fan of AI. I'm team AI. I think that AI is such a fantastic tool for anyone, but especially for marketers. But no, it's for any business. AI is a tool, right? It doesn't replace creativity, but it definitely speeds up the execution. of things, right? So I could go on and on about AI forever, but that's definitely the trend that I hone in on. I'm becoming more skilled day by day. It's allowing me to accelerate my results for people and organizations. And then the platforms that I spend the most time on for my personal clients are LinkedIn for sure. Their careers are growing on LinkedIn. Gosh, I mean, again, like that's really where I live. I use a lot of tools, so I'm also like highly proficient with HubSpot and using HubSpot in so many different ways to accelerate growth for a company. Social media, I don't actually have a lot of like young populations that I work with. So my clients, organizations, and individuals are very keen on me doubling down on a certain platform like LinkedIn, right, for their business and for the individual, where I can tell them and essentially be a subject matter expert on everything that's going to work on LinkedIn. They'd rather me just focus on one platform and kind of leave the rest for later. And that goes with my philosophy too. Like, don't dive into a million different things when you're really not an expert in one, but keep going deeper and deeper with what works.
I 100% with you.
Yeah.
All right, Heather, what metrics matter most to you when evaluating the success of a marketing initiative?
Yeah. So let's say I'm going to tap into a brand new audience for a company, right? A brand new audience that a company wants to target. I've done this time and time again. I'm looking at this is, of course, after I've met with sales, customer success. We understand their pain points. We understand how to connect, right? Now it comes down to like a multi-channel campaign. So we have email, we have a referral program in place, we have shiny landing pages and web content, we have social, and we think it all hits. I am using heat mapping. That is what I enjoy using first and foremost because I actually want to see where people are gravitating towards, where they're spending the most time, and especially where they're not spending any time, right? I'm humble enough to say that even when I think I've hit all of the content marketing in the right way, sometimes I'm wrong, right? What I think they're going to gravitate towards. I'm really interested in things like page depth. How far down did they get? Right. So when I look and I see that they spent 3 seconds on a web page, I know that, wow, I better move that compelling video up because they never even got to it. Right. And that's the storytelling piece that I think they'll gravitate towards. So heat mapping is always one. I'm looking at how long they're staying on a page. I'm looking at, of course, like how many clicks we're getting so that I can understand, are they taking any next step at all? So I'm always honing in on those first and making sure that I have a healthy return on those things right there before I move on. A lot of marketers are trying to cure everything all at once, especially when they have 10 different metrics that they're trying to measure. And in my experience, that just hasn't been successful.
Great. All right. What advice would you give yourself when you started your career?
Yeah.
What would you tell yourself now
Yeah.
that wise?
Yeah. My younger self straight out of college.
Yes.
Yeah. I've mentored a lot of like junior copywriters and designers and things. And the first thing that I always tell them is double down on one skill set that you are most interested in. Don't try to be the generalist. Don't try to do everything. Become really, really good, the best person in your company, in your department on one single skill. If you're interested in data, right? Learn everything that you can about analyzing and understanding data and reporting on that data. If you're a creative person, video is huge, right? It's one of the most powerful marketing strategies, for example, for a company building a brand. Great. Learn everything that you can about video marketing or video, whatever it is, right? Video editing, whatever. There's so many free resources. No one really has an excuse not to completely absorb and get obsessed with the skill set that they, right? If you can be the best in your department, the best resource for your company, you are on the fast track to success.
Awesome. Heather, thank you very much for being today
Of course.
Inside
Of
Marketing
course.
Success. It has been a pleasure talking to you, and I certainly want to continue my relationship with you.
Of course. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Insight Marketing Success, where marketing knowledge meets real-world experience from vision to execution.